Welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your hosts, Rob and Randy, who reveal the truth, the lies, and confusion about health so that you are no longer the victim to mainstream medical dogma and you are the hero to your own happy, healthy story.
So excited about 2024 and all the amazing things that Dr. Rob and I have been working on and are working on. And as you guys know, as the first part of our office hours, this is our podcast version that releases every Friday. So if you're a first-time listener to the Happy Healthy Life podcast, welcome to the podcast. We talk about all things health and healing. We disrupt a little bit. We really believe that you are your best health advocate. You are your best doctor, and that health and wellness is your God-given birthright, and that you don't want to turn your health over to a system that just is not equipped to help you live your best life. In fact, it's the opposite. They make more money when you're sick, depressed, living in fear, and not taking charge of your health. So if you are a first-time listener, I would even encourage you, go back and listen to our pilot episode that Dr. Rob and I did talking about, why we even started the Happy Healthy Life, why we even got involved and started a company called Happy Healthy. I overcame late-stage cancer back in July of 2010, which is a metabolic condition. Dr. Rob lost 65 pounds and has kept it off now for over a decade, which obviously obesity is a metabolic condition. So if I can overcome late-stage cancer, if Dr. Rob can lose 65 pounds and keep it off, there isn't anything that you cannot do and accomplish. So as always, if you listen, like, review, subscribe, please share. This message does not get anywhere without you guys sharing it. And it's huge because these are the type of podcasts and shows and the information that really gets pushed down. It doesn't really get out because the algorithms are set up in place. They do not want more people taking charge of their health. I can guarantee that. It's sad, but it is true. So welcome. We're glad to have you here. I've got a great episode today that I want to share with you guys. It's going to be something that I was just become very keenly aware of just over the last 2 weeks, being with my family, traveling, did a lot of traveling. I had a great time, really recharged, but just looking around and seeing people when you go to the coffee shop, when you go to church, when you're with your family. I went to a wedding. Just looking around and observing people, you start to realize that, oh my gosh, it is crazy to look and see how many of us are just sick, overweight. People don't look happy. They look like they're in pain. And it seems like this has just become the normal way that America is. Yet I'm thinking about, how is any of this really normal? How we become this sick and this dependent on this current medical industrial complex. So I'm going to talk about today, what is the reason why we become sick, fat, overweight, medicated, depressed, and not living our full potential? And the answer really isn't that complicated, but I've got 3 areas I want to focus on today. A lot of you who are part of our tribe and part of the Happy Healthy family, this is going to ring true to you. But some of you listening right now who you're not really sure what's going on. You're storing fat in places that don't even make sense, and you haven't even changed what you're eating. You're exercising, you're cutting your calories. Nothing seems to make any sense. Or, you've got this new diagnosis, either some hormonal imbalance or some autoimmune condition, and your doctor doesn't know what's going on, or they're blaming your genetics, or they're blaming your age, and none of it's making sense to you. Hopefully I can bring some clarity to today and give you a little bit of hope. But I want to read to y'all. It's called the life or death postulate. The life or death postulate. This is very, very simple, but I want to read it because, remember, health really is simple. And I think this articulates it beautifully. But here's what it says. It says that man is either alive or he is dead. If he's alive, there is a reason. If he is dead, there is a reason. Man is either healthy or he's sick. If he is healthy, there is a reason. If he's sick, there is a reason. If he's healthy, there is a logical, reasonable, and consistent explanation. So, what does all that mean? Really, what it means is the body is really always doing the right thing under the circumstances. Okay. Your body's never trying to kill you, it's always trying to heal you. And I think one of the big mistakes that we make in America is we don't study healthy people, right? Who do we study? We study sick people, because when you study sick people, you find more ways to treat more sick people, more medical procedures. You develop more medications, more testing, more surgical procedures. And guys, outside of the 2 to 3% of our system that is for crisis care, and thank God for that, our medical system is completely worthless in helping create healthy people, which is why today, as I go through these 3 areas where I see where it's really making us sick and we're not adapting, we've got to start becoming aware, and we've got to start being more intentional. I know a lot of you are. Some of this will be recap, but for a lot of you, this could be really eye-opening. All right. So you look around, we're sick, we're unhealthy, we're overweight. How the heck did we get here? Because when you look back 100 years ago, even into the early 1900s, guys, obesity was so rare, you almost never saw it. There wasn't heart disease, there wasn't cancer, there wasn't diabetes, there wasn't all these conditions that we've all diagnosed that we take medications for. So what was the big shift? One of the big shifts, and this is not rocket science, but it is real, and people are still not getting it, is we are not eating real food nutrition any longer. We are not surfing for our food. We are not simply eating real food. We are simply eating food that can't even be classified as food. We are eating things that are built for shelf life that have no business in our food supply. You go to a grocery store, heck, you can't eat 99% of what's even in there because it's not meant to be consumed. So here we go. Let's talk about it. Processed food. These are the hyper palatable, ultra processed foods that are in a box, they're in a can, and they sit there for thousands and thousands of years and they never go bad. So, number one thing you got to avoid is you got to avoid refined grain and flour. Okay. You can no longer eat refined grain, refined flour. Remember, all grain basically in America is hybridized, is genetically modified. It is very, very toxic and damaging to the human body, to the human microbiome, and is linked to not only obesity, but linked to cancer. And here's why. One of the reasons is that all grain basically in America is loaded with glyphosate. Who knows what glyphosate is? These are these pesticides, herbicides, insecticides. These are forever chemicals that are sprayed on our crops and they get into our blood supply. They're mainly in grain and oats and rice and cereals. Almost every major cereal, every oat product is loaded with glyphosate. Glyphosate disrupts and destroys completely your microbiome and your gut. And when you destroy your gut, you're no longer going to be able to absorb key nutrients. And that is a direct link to your brain. So that gut-brain axis is disrupted, and it's linked to depression, it's linked to immune dysfunction, and it's directly linked to cancer. You know, my father passed away back 14, 15, I guess it was, wow, 15 years ago. It's insane that it's been that long. And my father, every single morning, he got his shredded wheat, he got his oatmeal from Quaker, and he ate that every single day. God knows how much glyphosate he was loading into his body, which this is also found in Roundup, the herbicide, which he used religiously on all the properties that he had. And my dad ended up with cancer, which is one of the direct links to glyphosate. So glyphosate is an endocrine disruptor. It will wreck your gut microbiome, and it's all processed grain and sugar. Avoid processed grain and sugar. Also, refined sugar. So real sugar is not the same as processed sugar, okay? Processed sugar is completely different in the body. There's zero nutrition in any processed sugar. it definitely will spike your insulin levels and it will cause your body to become insulin resistant over time. So things like high fructose corn syrup. So there's a big difference between fructose that you would get in fruit, in honey, in maple syrup, naturally, that you would get in fresh squeezed orange juice, versus high fructose corn syrup that's made from genetically modified corn. By the way, there is no fructose in corn. So how do they get fructose out of a grain that doesn't even have fructose? They genetically engineer it to create this. And so high fructose corn syrup, because it's made from corn, you're getting tons of resistant starch in this syrup. So even like a can of soda that says maybe it's got 250 calories from sugar or from the can of soda, that isn't actually true. What they're finding is when you use high fructose corn syrup, you can hide 2, 3, 4 times the amount of calories because of this starch, this resistant starch found in the corn, in the grain, that doesn't have to be labeled. That can of soda could be 800 to 1,000 calories of pure refined sugar that's loading up your gut, your pancreas, and your intestines and blowing your insulin through the roof. So you've got to avoid this for many, many reasons. No more processed sugar, no more refined grain. These are making you sick, overweight, and obese, along with the worst one of all. As we all know, it is the omega-6 linoleic acid. This is refined industrial seed oil, your canola, your corn, your safflower, your soybean. This stuff is in everything and it's in all processed food. Guys, seed oil is the new cigarette smoke, okay? Nobody would suggest or encourage children to be smoking a pack of cigarettes, yet a pack of cigarettes is way less dangerous to your child than them eating McDonald's French fries. And why is that? There are breakdown products that your body has to break this down when you consume this PUFA, this polyunsaturated fatty acid, this omega-6 linoleic acid, this 18 carbon chain unsaturated fat that is industrial in grade and refined, making all these seed oils that we're putting into our body. Guys, there are breakdown products that go into your body that are cell disruptors and cause cell death. So you smoke a cigarette, those breakdown products, which we'll talk about, are dangerous, but they'll leave your body within 24 hours. However, when you ingest industrial seed oil, the ones we're talking about, these breakdown products, they do not leave your body within 24 hours. They set up shop, they integrate themselves into your DNA, into your mitochondria, into your adipose tissue, into your nervous system, and they have a 500-day half-life, which means after 500 days, half of that crap is still loaded into your body. It could take 2, 3, 4 years to get rid of these metabolic disrupting chemicals. Things like 4-HNE, CIP, MDA, acrolein. These are all the breakdown aldehydes that your body's doing to protect you when you eat these seed oils, but these are metabolic disruptors and they cause cell death and oxidative stress. All right. So you've got to stop eating seed oil. We know this. There is no reason at this point to ever eat seed oil again with what we know. Remember, seed oil makes you hungry. What does processed food do? It makes you hungry. That was that study done out of the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. They took 2 groups of people. One ate unprocessed food, one ate processed food. The processed food group ate 500 more calories than the real food group because when you eat processed food, it makes you hungrier and you don't get satisfied. You don't create satiety. So remember, seed oil hits the same receptors in your body as if you were smoking weed. All right, who's ever heard of the munchies? Nobody's probably going to admit this. Okay, Chris, thank you. Diana, thank you. We're a few honest people in the group here. Dr. Lindsay, you know this stuff. Hey, listen, when you smoke weed, so I've heard, you get the munchies because it hits the cannabinoid system in your body. This is located in your duodenum. These are triggers in your brain, and it does the exact same thing. This stuff makes you starving and hungry and craving processed food which is usually going to be more of the same crap making you hungry. And the hungrier you get, the worse it becomes because the foods that you're eating have no nutrition. So if you're not getting nutrients, your body's getting overfed and it's undernourished. It's going to keep you hungry because it's hoping you're finally going to eat something that's going to give it the most nutrient-dense, bioavailable nutrition to meet all the metabolic demands that your body needs. So you're making yourself hungry as if you were smoking weed. Seed oil and the breakdown aldehydes break your fat cells. This is a huge, huge problem. Guys, fat cells, what you do not want your fat cells to do is go into hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is where your fat cells become bigger and bigger and bigger until ultimately they explode and burst. What you want is hyperplasia, for your fat cells to multiply and become smaller. However, seed oil and the breakdown products, specifically 4-HNE, this aldehyde will cause your fat cells to grow and grow and grow and burst. And when these fat cells burst, they become a separate endocrine organ. So they release a fatty acid called palmitic acid, palmitate. That fatty acid tells your liver and your muscle cells to become insulin resistant. So what does that mean? That now means you're creating a metabolic environment where your body's now diabetic. Your muscle can't take up glucose. Your liver can't store and take up glucose. You are now basically a type 2 diabetic, and it only gets worse. So seed oil, it's not just that you can eat it and get away with it. If you keep eating it, it keeps building, causing more damage, more hypertrophy, and more toxic fat cells that are bursting and breaking and causing more diabetes. That's why, guys, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just calories in, calories out. That is a myth. That is a lie. Calories in affect the calories out. And what's that doing hormonally? What is that doing to your endocrine system and to your fat cells? All right. So obviously, quick recap, no more processed food. Stop eating fake food, processed grain and sugar, loaded with glyphosate, heavy metals and chemicals. Stop eating seed oil. Also, when we talk about eating processed food and seed oil, remember, these are the foods, not only do they make you hungry, there's no nutrition in this food. Okay. And so in order for you to be metabolically healthy and to be at your ideal weight, your body needs key nutrients. So here's another thing I'm going to throw in there, and this may shock some of you, but it's a real thing. Stop eating so many plants. Why are we so fascinated with plants? We're in this whole culture now. It's a huge propaganda where they're pushing eating a plant-based diet. And I can't imagine a worse metabolic curse than to be stuffing your face full of salads and raw vegetables all day long, because the problem is vegetables don't really have a lot of bioavailable nutrition. Okay, the most nutrient-dense food are found in animals and animal fats. And it's not just that plants don't have the most bioavailable nutrition. And I'll just give you an example. You know, beta carotene is great, but beta carotene isn't any good to your body unless your body can make vitamin A. And most people can't convert beta carotene to vitamin A. You get vitamin A from animal fats. You don't get vitamin A from plants and vegetables. And so when you start eating a plant-based diet, all these raw salads and plants and vegetables, remember, every organism wants to protect its baby. Every single organism. And a plant's baby is its seed, right? So all seeds, nuts and seeds and plants and leaves and stems all have defense chemicals and anti-nutrients, because they're not like animals. They can't run away or defend themselves. They don't want you to eat them, because if you eat them, they want to make you sick. And so most plants have things called oxalates, things called saponins, things called lectins and prolamines and phytic acid, hemagglutinins, isothiocyanates. These are chelating agents. They block the absorption of minerals. They block iodine to the thyroid. They cause severe gut pain, and they end up getting into your colon and your bowel undigested, which can cause systemic low-grade inflammation. So I'm not saying never eat vegetables. Obviously, I eat them on occasion, a lot less than I used to. But if you're going to eat vegetables, you have to prepare them correctly. Peeling, de-seeding, pressure cooking, fermenting, soaking, sprouting. Stop eating so many raw plants and vegetables. You're not getting key nutrition. You're blocking key other nutrients, and you're never going to achieve a level of health. Because if you're struggling hormonally, if you're struggling with your weight, it may be because you're eating so many anti-nutrients, your body can't absorb what it needs to absorb. So keep that in mind. No processed sugar, no processed grain, never eat seed oils again, and stop being plant-based, be animal-based. Let the plants be more of a condiment when prepared correctly. All right. Which, by the way, is why Dr. Rob and myself, which, by the way, I didn't introduce myself. If you're a first-time listener, I'm Dr. Randy Johns, a co-founder of Happy Healthy Thin, along with Dr. Rob Vasquez, who is my partner in crime, my business partner. That's why we created the Happy Healthy Thin Metabolism Program to help you detox from glyphosate, from years of stored seed oil, to help repair your metabolic profile, to get you burning fat, becoming insulin sensitive, fat adapted, creating brand new metabolic thermostats where you can lose weight, keep it off, and never have to be on a diet again. And once again, put you back in charge of your own journey, which, by the way, if you would like to know how to get involved with Happy Healthy, one of the favorite things Dr. Rob and I do, in fact, a lot of you guys who are part of our tribe and our community here at Happy Healthy, you came in through one of our weight loss challenges. Our next weight loss challenge is coming up January 22nd through the 24th. It is a 3-day event. We'll be going live at 11 a.m. Central on that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That is January 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Dr. Rob, we're going to be giving you our absolute most current best stuff. And we're going to show you how to start turning your health around and how to get connected and work directly with people like myself and Dr. Rob, who not only speak this, we live it, we breathe it, we preach it, we go to sleep thinking about it, we wake up thinking about it. We want to find out how do we help and reach more people, and we would love to support you on your journey. So if you're struggling with your weight, if you have poor energy, if you don't like the way you look and feel, if you just don't know what the heck has changed, what's going on, and nobody seems to help you, and you're sick and tired of dieting and cutting calories and going to the gym hours a day and seeing those results, jump in with us at the Happy Healthy Thin. You can go to www.h2thinchallenge.com. That's the letter H, number 2, thin, THIN challenge.com, h2thinchallenge.com. You can register for free into this challenge. I think we're almost over 20,000 people in this group that we'll be going live to here in the next 2 weeks. So join us there. All right, let's talk about endocrine disruptors really quickly. So what are endocrine disruptors? I call these obesogens. What is an obesogen? An obesogen is a chemical that doesn't degrade very well, stays around really forever, and it disrupts and damages your body's hormonal balance and endocrine system. So let me hit some of the top endocrine disruptors that you could be exposed to that is completely wrecking your metabolic profile. Number 1 are called polybrominated diphenyl esters, or PBDEs. These are flame retardants. So just sitting down on the sofa of your couch, these chemicals that you can't smell are released, and you're breathing these things. Some of these things you can't do anything about. Some of these things are just things to be aware of, but awareness is key. I think there's over 80,000 chemicals we could be exposed to in America, which is hard to believe that they would allow that many chemicals in our environment. And almost none of these have been tested for carcinogenic responses causing cancer and what it does to us. It's one big medical experiment on humanity, but you've got to be aware of these things. Triclosan is an antimicrobial found in soaps and all the pumps of the hand sanitizer. Stop sanitizing your hands, for God's sake. That stuff is more dangerous than the so-called germs that are supposed to be so-called killing us. All your soaps and personal care products, triclosan destroys the microbiome and the microbial activity that you need. Bacteria are needed in your gut. They're on our skin, and you're destroying that with triclosan, and is a serious endocrine disruptor. Atrazine, this is a pesticide and herbicide. This is sprayed all over plants. Once again, stop eating all these dang plants. Cows aren't killing us. All these plants loaded with atrazine and pesticides are killing us. Atrazine destroys your luteinizing hormone, causing an increase in estrogen and an estrogen dominance where you cannot break this down. You become estrogen dominant, which is very, very dangerous when it comes to cancer, obesity, and for a lot of you who gain fat and cellulite in areas of your body that make zero sense, okay? Plus, these are the chemicals that don't degrade. They end up in our water supply. Stop drinking tap water, okay? Per fluorooctanoic acid, or PFOAs, these are surfactants in your non-stick cookware. So I think we're probably all aware that stuff is garbage. Stop cooking, get a cast iron skillet, get stainless steel, none of these non-stick surface, because these are serious endocrine disruptors. They don't degrade, they end up in our water supply. Bisphenol A, or BPA, probably a lot of you have heard of BPA. It's a synthetic resin that lines cans and other food beverage products. So you'll see a lot of these cans will say BPA free, but be aware, because BPA directly damages your reproductive health and causes a vitamin D deficiency. And a vitamin D deficiency is now going to further wreck your hormonal panel, because all major hormones that are created in our body, especially the sex hormones, you need adequate vitamin D. All right. Also, look out for these. They're called organic tin compounds, or organotins. Not organic, organotins. Organotins like TBT, TPT, they store in your adipose tissue. And what they do, they signal your stem cells to turn into bigger fat cells. So you're really stimulating your body to start making more fat and becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. This stuff is found in paint, perfumes, toothpaste, food dyes and additives, and into soap. So stop using commercial skincare products, commercial soaps and cleaning agents and detergents. All of that stuff is loaded with these endocrine disruptors, okay? Phthalates, these are found in cosmetics, medicine, paint. They're found in detergents, same type crap. Obesogens destroy our immune system, they destroy our gut, and they cause us to get huge. Also, isoflavones found in soy, legumes, chickpeas, all of the lentils, all these things that have the lectins and the prolamines, all these beans, all this seed and bean and legume are loaded with isoflavones. Isoflavones are going to give you a strong estrogen dominance and downregulate a lot of your androgenic hormones. So these are called obesogens. They make you big, fat, sick, unhealthy, and they're found in these type foods. And then lastly, PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyl. They accumulate in the plants and the leaves and the stems. So plants are loaded with these chemicals because this is a forever chemical that was made illegal in 1979, but because it doesn't go away, it stays in the soil. And all this monocropping and conventionally raised plants and seeds, it stays there in those chemicals in those plants. And it is an endocrine disruptor. It is an obesogen, and it ends up in our water supply. No tap water. Stop eating conventional produce. Stop using conventional products. Start thinking about what you're putting on your skin, what you're putting in your body. Makes a huge, huge difference. And then lastly, for time's sake, stop. This is huge. Stop abusing and overusing the medical system. I did a podcast episode a few weeks ago talking about the #1 cause of death in our country, and it was iatrogenesis. If you did not check that out, go back and listen to that. Iatro means physician, genesis means origin. So the origin of death, the #1 cause of death is medically induced death. This was published in 2004, March, Journal of the American Medical Association. Outside of the 3% emergency care, our medical system, not only is it not keeping us healthy, it is making us sick, fat, overweight, and more depressed, because medication in and of itself is a metabolic disrupting chemical. If you have a headache, you take a Tylenol. Tylenol doesn't just go to your head and fix the headache. What does it do? It systemically goes to everything. There isn't a more dangerous, damaging component to your body's natural stores of glutathione than Tylenol. I had a really good patient years ago, back when I was in practice. He was a pharmacist, a doctor of pharmacy. And he told me, Randy, he said, every drug has an average of 10 effects on your body. I was like, you got to be kidding me. He goes, yeah, every drug has 10 effects. He goes, if you take 2 drugs, guess how many effects the 2 drugs have on your body? Well, you'd think it'd be 20. Doesn't work that way. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = 3. It's compound interest. 1 drug has 10 effects. 2 drugs has 100 effects. 3 drugs have 1,000 effects. 4 drugs, 10,000. 5 drugs, 100,000. 6 or more medications, over 1 million different effects on the human body. And all of these medications interactions, we have no idea what that's doing to people. However, I think we kind of do. Look around. How many of our friends and family members, people we go to church with, are on all these medications? I think the average American's filling 4 to 5 prescriptions a year. There's over 20,000 different medications that has been approved by the FDA to be marketed to the American public through TV and radio ads and wherever else you want to get it through social media. All right, so we are a drug freaking culture. I told y'all I left the drug medical cartel back in 1999. I left it. I'm never going back. The last drug I ever took was an antibiotic. I took 1 dose, I threw it in the trash, and I've never taken a drug since. And I got well in spite of the fact that I wasn't taking the drugs, because drugs do not heal. If you give drugs to a healthy person, it makes them sick. You give drugs to a sick person, how could that possibly make them healthy? Remember the life or death postulate. There's a reason why you're healthy. There's a reason why you're sick. And I wouldn't even say that you're sick. If I sound a little congested today, it's not my sexy voice. I am a little congested, okay? A little runny nose. I've had a little cough. I've been traveling a bunch, a little sleep deprived, missing my own bed, but nothing in my mind is thinking I should take a drug to stop the cough or to stop the mucus, because my body isn't trying to kill me. It's trying to heal me. So coughing and sneezing and diarrhea and throwing up and fevers and runny nose, something isn't wrong with you. Something is right with you. Here's the problem. When we grow up in a medical cult and a medical cartel, when we're born into a medicine cabinet full of vaccines and symptom suppressing drugs, you begin to stop your body's metabolic process of health and healing. Okay? It's all about how you adapt to your environment. Your body's always doing the right thing under the circumstances, which is why creating an environment where your body can adapt to its highest level is always the goal. But you'll never, ever overcome obesity, sickness, depression, and a dependency on medication if you don't honor your body's symptoms. When my body's making mucus, it is doing the right thing. And if I took a drug to stop it, I'm not fighting the germ or the virus, which is the biggest scam ever. I'm fighting my body's ability to heal. And every time you drug and stop your body's symptoms, which are symptoms of healing, you weaken your body. Every time you do this, you weaken your body more and more and more and more till metabolically nothing works any longer. And now you're more susceptible to every single thing out there. So the body is always doing the right thing under the circumstances. Honor your symptoms. Trust your body. Stop drugging every single symptom that you have. These drugs are strong, strong obesogens. They accumulate in your body. They have multiple effects. These are compound interest. The more drugs you take, the sicker you're going to be. I cannot imagine ever going back to a model where my first instinct, when I don't feel my best, is to now take a drug. It's bad enough that I don't feel good. I can't imagine now having to also fight off the drug and the chemical. When I got sick with late stage cancer, it was bad enough that I had cancer. Why the hell, excuse my language, would I want to poison my body on top of the fact that my body wasn't adapting metabolically? You can't fix problems with chemicals when problems are not created by a lack of chemicals. And the less chemicals you have in your body, the healthier your immune system is going to become, and the easier it will become to detox and lose weight, because your kidneys, your liver, your lungs, your organs, your endocrine system began to heal and they begin to get stronger. Once again, why Dr. Rob and I created our metabolic program to help give you that jump start, to help you detox from years of pesticides and herbicides and insecticides, glyphosate specifically, to get all these breakdown aldehyde products out of your fat cells, to help you detox from PUFA. We've literally created a protocol to help you get a jump start, get the weight off, and heal your metabolism. But let's don't go back to where we used to be. And for a lot of people listening, if you've not been through our program, that's why we created the Happy Healthy Thin Challenge, h2thinchallenge.com, to help give you and tell you exactly what it's going to take to turn this around. So quick recap, guys. The number one reason why we're sick, overweight, depressed, fat, medicated, and miserable is we're eating processed food, grain and sugar. We're crushing commercial industrial grade seed oil. This is not meant for human consumption. It's for machines, and it's destroying our metabolic profile. All the obesogens, all the forever chemicals that are in detergents and our skincare products and our perfumes that are in our cooking utensils. Stop using fake commercial products. Start getting chemicals out of your body. You'll never regret it. And then stop relying on the medical system and overusing this fraudulent system to be healthy. Stop going to doctors and asking them how to get healthy. You might as well go to your mechanic and ask for a haircut. They got the same training. These doctors have no idea what they're doing when they're conventionally trained. They are trained by drug companies. That is the facts. Doesn't make them bad people. They don't know what health is. And if you don't even know what health is, how the heck are you going to create healthy people? They study sick people, and pharmaceutical companies are creating more drugs, more vaccines, more medical procedures, not to help cure disease and create a healthy planet, but to make more money, hand over fist. They're not stopping. It's only getting worse. Get out of the system, become your own CEO. Stop using the medical system for health. It's only for crisis. And I cannot emphasize that fact enough. I left the system in 1999. I was pretty excited too. I got my mom out of the medical system about 15 years ago. I've gotten my family out of the medical system. I've gotten my nephews, my brother, and my sister-in-law out of the medical system. We are no longer going to rely on a system that has failed us over and over and over. Stop relying on a system that you know is never going to help you turn your health around. You are in charge of your own health. You are your best advocate. You are your best doctor. 1 John 4:4 says, greater is he that's in you than he that's in this world. That is not a religious statement. That is a fact. You are the best doctor. Health is an inside-out job. It is not an outside-in job. And the better you adapt to your environment, chemically, physically, and emotionally, from the inside, the better life will be. And that is the happy, healthy life. I love you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in. Like, share, review. We love you guys so much. The happy, healthy life is not going away. And we're excited about 2024. I am out. Have an awesome rest of your week.
Thanks for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure to follow them on Instagram at the H2 Life or on YouTube and Facebook at the Happy Healthy Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.